Hey everyone, this is part 2 of our 2-part interview with Taylor from CHUG. We discuss online marketing strategies, defining CHUG a niche amongst other online food and beverage services, and his life and interests outside of managing CHUG. He's joined by hosts Jackie and Brendan.
So Taylor, can you give us a bit of context about CHUG and what it's all about?
So CHUG is an online directory that allows users to search for food and drink specials at the city's best venues. So say, for example, you want a beer in the CBD on a Thursday. You plug that into the search engine, and then you get a whole bunch of results, like $5 beers, $10 jugs. It works for cocktails, spirits, wine, trivia nights, comedy, all of that. So it's really a tool to help people experience more of Melbourne.
Taylor, how did you get your initial users?
Majority of our users come from Google. So if you Google happy hours or cheap eats in Melbourne, along with hundreds of other keywords, you'll see CHUG pop up. So SEO has been the main focus since CHUG was born, because if you've got good SEO, as in if you rank well in Google, you don't have to pay for those users. It's the best type of advertising, essentially. I mean, you've got to put work in to be able to rank there, but I knew that there wasn't a lot of competition for those keywords. So typing in happy hours in Melbourne, there was only like 3 results that actually gave you good information. So I knew that if I could create good content for those keywords, that it would rank. And so, as I said, like this year we'll have over 200,000 users, and that's like 90% of that is purely from Google. So there'll be repeat ones coming through. They might type CHUG into the address bar, but majority of people find us through Google.
What strategies did you kind of use at the start, and how's it shifted now for SEO?
I don't think it shifted too much. I think Google certainly rolled out changes to what they want in websites, but at the end of the day, the best way to rank is to create good content. So Google's goal is to deliver their user the best content possible. That way they're happy with Google, and they'll keep coming back. So if you can create something that's going to answer that consumer's concern or question, then Google's going to be more excited to offer that to them. But it also depends on your niche as well. If you're competing in a niche like car sales, for example, it's going to be very hard because there's a lot of money in car sales. Essentially, any niche where there's a lot of money is going to be the hardest. So pharmaceuticals, medicine, cars, fashion, all of that are going to be incredibly hard to crack into unless you find a niche. And the niche is a small subset of those people who want something different that isn't being provided by the big guys. So you've got companies like Zomato, TripAdvisor, who allow you to search for restaurants, but when it comes to happy hours, that's not something they do, because that's niche down. And so I couldn't take them on in the space of finding the best restaurant in Melbourne because they've got that covered. But because they're not covering happy hours or cheap eats, it's much easier for me to rank in Google and get that brand awareness because it's not something they're focusing on. And they're not focusing on it because it's to manage those happy hours. It's because they're changing constantly. So it's a harder thing to do. And also, to be honest, there's less money in that space as well because the cheaper drinks are, the less profit there is. The less profit there is, the less money these restaurants have to spend on advertising. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword in that it's easy for me to rank, but there's less money going around when it comes to bars and restaurants wanting to spend advertising.
So you talked about happy hour and constantly changing. How do you keep on top of that?
The good venues send me an email. The bad venues, I have to follow up. So I send out an email every now and then saying these are the specials we have listed for your venue. Have they changed? And it's also keeping up with their Facebook posts and all that. If we see a special that's we haven't got listed or is different to what we have listed, then we'll contact them and say, hey, what's up? And just update it on our end.
So what do you spend your time doing outside of CHUG?
So alongside CHUG, I also help a few restaurants and bars with their marketing, which kind of evolved from CHUG. So that's where I get the majority of my cash flow. So that's, doing a photo shoot for a restaurant, running their Facebook, running their Instagram. And that sits alongside, nicely with CHUG. It's in the same space. I can take advantage of the same contacts.
Meeting the right people.
Yeah, meet the right people and yeah.
So what motivates you to continue working on CHUG, and how do you see CHUG becoming in the future?
What I really love at the moment is the AI space. I mean, what CHUG is distribution of information. That has been the internet ever since the internet was created. A place where you can go on and receive information. Now, how that information is being requested and transmitted is what changes. And so going forward, AI is going to play a major role in defining how we receive information. I mean, you look at Siri, I bought a Google Home a couple of days ago just to play around with it, and it's phenomenal. So imagine in 10, 20 years where that's commonplace. How is a website like CHUG going to survive in that space? Now, that's pretty far off, but I think it's good to think about now. It's like, how can we be delivering our information in a way that's going to keep up with the current consumer habits? Thinking more short term, branching out to Sydney, Brisbane, definitely on the cards. Before that, though, an app is something we certainly need to work on. I mean, that's just another indication of how people are receiving that information. Google's one part, but, we're going more towards, mobile phones. It's been that way for a very long time, and it just becomes more and more so. Like, we look at our desktop users compared to mobile, and it's pretty 50-50. So if we can release an app that works beautifully and just makes the process of finding a place even easier than the website, then that's something that we definitely need to do. And then also working with some brands. We want to start working with brands and that are in a similar space. So alcohol companies, travel companies that align with our vision of being able to go out there and experience more of life. And that's also where the money is too. Like you look at the advertising spend of liquor companies, of beer companies, and it's incredible. If we can get 0.1% of that, that's not bad.
Yeah, people are willing to pay for a good time.
They are, yeah. You look at where people put their disposable income, and it's into, things like food and drink. You go out tonight, it's Friday. You're going to see people, spend $200 on drinks, which is insane. There's money there for sure.
Yeah. So just to wrap this up for all our listeners, since it is a Friday night, where do you recommend to hit up?
Well, the thing about Friday night is there's lots of people out, so there's less happy hours on Friday. So happy hours usually happen when there's less people, so earlier in the week. So actually a lot of happy hours happen from Monday to Thursday. But look, dude, to be honest, I'd have to check CHUG.
We'd all have to check CHUG.
Yeah.
Let's quickly pull it up.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, Taylor. And if you're a really good web developer or app developer, hit up Taylor at CHUG.
Yeah, send me an email, taylor@chug.com.au. That's CHUG.com.au. Thanks for having me, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
So that's the conclusion of our interview with Taylor from CHUG. You can find CHUG at chug.com.au. Remember to like, subscribe, and follow Australian Incupod on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Instagram to keep updated for next week's episode.